Fit the runner, boy, you nigga, no question. You would run a motherfucker high stepping. Hey, you never had a big enough weapon. Motherfucker never learned your lesson. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I mean, day walker, drink blood, fangs out, full moon, motherfucker change like a hoe, nigga. I'm just a nigga from the hood trying to stack a little cheddar for the money.
Drew Titan Bronx on deck. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. And it's Sunday, y'all. And there's a lot to cover. There's a whole lot to cover, man. So we're not going to lollygag. You know, I see everybody in the building. Make sure you smash the like button. Share the video. Do whatever it is y'all want to do. So as you can see, we ain't pulling no punches this morning. Well, this evening. Salute to y'all. The Sensei Stormy B-Man's in the building. Salute.
Salute.
Marco on a mission from Hell's Kitchen. What's good, man?
What's cracking, fellas?
Man, we're gonna
Marco?
Chilling.
It was an active week in boxing. We were thoroughly fed with some quality stuff. I'm not gonna say it was plagued with controversy. It was all controversy that had nothing to do with the boxing powers that be. So we had a good week in boxing. So what we're gonna do is let's go back to, what was that, Stormy? Wednesday, the Pro Box. That was Wednesday. I thought it was Wednesday. It was Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday. Kick things off. Pro Box TV. They have a great little thing going with their broadcast because they got their own little venue where the fighters are fighting out of, similar to the OTX thing that DAZN is doing.
Yeah.
But Pro Box has a bit of reminiscent of what Tuesday night fights used to have to offer.
Right.
And instead of being every week, it's the bi-weekly show. You get it every other week. But that's pretty good within itself because it gives you a chance. If you're watching a current episode, they're telling you what's the next broadcast. So you got something to look forward to. And they surprised us this week by blowing the dust and the dirt and everything off of Nicholas Walters, who we hadn't really seen since he lost to Vasily Lomachenko back in 1902. And it was like one of those things where you know what I mean? And it was gratifying to see the guy come back. He's completing that lightweight, and
lightweight.
Joseph Adorno was not a soft touch for him to take.
Not at all.
But he performed well, probably won almost every round, and I'm like, shoot, where you been? You know, it's like let's get it. You know what I mean? So I was impressed and glad to see him back, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he looked like unless he's some sort of savant that we don't know about. I didn't like that Lomachenko lost because he quit. And what they did with him, I ain't gonna get into it. Y'all know what they did with him. They kind of like carried him along and froze him out, let him get a little rusty. Then they threw him to Loma. I don't want to get into it, but it looked like when he got the call, he took it serious, and he was in there with a chip on his shoulder. That's what it seemed like. It's like, you know what, I could make some noise. Is he confident enough to make a title run? We don't know. But based off of his opponent, he looked good. He looked good. He looked really good, and we're gonna see what he does moving forward. Man. Marco, did you watch the Nicholas Walters fight?
I did not. No.
Yeah, I like the I like the Pro Box. Dare I say ideology? They did do something personally that's not for me to say, but the reason why we appreciate what I like to say, boxing in abundance is because we're from the cloth of Tuesday night fights, ESPN every Friday. You know, I miss those programs. See, I used to look forward to my Fridays. I'd watch ESPN, and then after the boxing goes off, I'll see what's going on in the NBA, and you know that when I had time to do things like that. So I come from that cloth where I appreciate, you know, boxing in abundance. And like Stormy said, we're going to be talking about the DAZN card in a minute. But it was they put on maybe fighters that you haven't seen in a while, because 2 weeks before that we saw Sullivan Barrera. Didn't work out for him, but it was nice to see him, and sad to see how he went out. But he was there. It was nice to see him. So they're digging up guys. Also, I follow the Spanish-speaking Pro Box YouTube channel. I don't understand a word they're saying, but it's nice to see Juan Manuel Marquez. So they put some money behind this thing.
Where he's hosting or commentating?
He's commentating. And of course, I didn't know it was him until they put the camera on. I said, oh, look. And it's nice to see after the wars he's had, he has all of his faculties.
Yeah.
He's talking fast and everything. I said, wow, man, it's nice to see him. Very nice.
Your own urine, Drew, it saves you, and you have all your faculties when you drink your own urine.
Oh, Jesus.
Remember where he drank his own urine?
God damn.
I stumped you both for a second there. I thought I was doing some weird shit, but
yeah, that right there.
Floyd Mayweather's kid was like,
when he did it, I literally gagged when he did it. I'll never forget that.
And I remember like doing some research, like, and there's apparently no proven medical benefits either. It's like kind of wives' tales.
He could have drank a Gatorade. I mean, what the hell?
Or maybe water.
Water, do that. Why is he drink? Jesus Christ! There was no health value behind. All right,
No value at all. Yeah.
At all. I've never seen.
He was channeling his inner Tony Stark. He thought he had a built-in filtration system. You could drink that.
Oh, it's all bad. That was all bad. But nice to see him. Nice to see him, man. And he had all his faculties, and he looks like he's enjoying what he does. And that's all we ever want. So Nicholas Walters showed up. He showed out. I watched the fight in its entirety, and I was concerned. I'm like, are they resurrecting these guys that are super rusty just to build up the other guys' records? And that wasn't it. Sullivan Barrera 2 weeks ago didn't work out, but Nicholas Walters, he showed up and showed out, and that's what I like.
Before that, Drew, there was that kid Najee. Remember?
Yes, 2 weeks before that.
He was in a great fight on there. So they are putting together some great matches, and the talent that we, it keeps us fresh with the guys who are active and everything. And I've said it time and again, when you have fighters who are going to be active, that's where your attention should be, because these inactive guys, they're sitting around, they've become social media stalwarts, but they're not doing anything in the ring. And boxing, a lot like the NFL, is like, that's a sport where you have to be active, you have to be in shape, you have to be able to get out there and take care of your business. Otherwise, the youth movement will come and just push you to the side.
Yeah.
And keep the sport driving forward.
And it's not necessarily the youth that'll be better. It's just that when you get older, you might be wiser, but your body just doesn't react like the way it needs to react. You might have a higher IQ, but if you don't have the athletic ability to get something done, you just can't do it. So that's why when the older you get, do y'all understand why once these fighters reach 30, you might not realize it, but sitting on a shelf for more than 6 months, that can harm you unless you're a gym rat. But even though, you understand, you got to be sharp. These guys should be sitting down no longer than 3.5 months before they're back in the ring again. And that's being nice. That's being nice, but I appreciate the pro box situation. I appreciate that. Okay. Hold on, I'm sorry. Yeah, I appreciate the effort that Pro Box is doing as far as bringing us boxing like we love it. I appreciate that. It's not a big arena, and those guys are in there trying to make a name for themselves, and they're doing a really damn good job. I appreciate that. I got one little bias against Pro Box. I'll explain it in a second. 88 Sports Talk in that super chat. He said, man, did y'all see Lava K? I know, bro. We're going to get to it. We're going to get to it, 88. We're going to get to it. We're going to get to it. Definitely. We're going to get to it. And that was I'll explain. But Pro Box, y'all fired my guy. I don't like that. That's just personal.
Who?
George. They just let him go.
George who?
George Jakovich. He be in the chat.
Oh.
He might be in the chat tonight. He might be listening. But you know, all the more reason why when you have knowledge and you have connections, you know, like how I told you, Marco. I mean, there might be some sex appeal if Pro Box comes to you and say, hey man, we're gonna throw you some bread. You know, come work with us for like a year.
In a fucking second.
Right. But you know what's more important? As long as it doesn't interfere with what you're doing on your personal platform. Because you to yourself is more valuable. Like I told you, you're connected. I told George, I said, bro, okay, but you know, you guys are connected. You really don't need these guys in the long run because look what they can do. And they don't do right by you. But I don't want to get on my,
yeah.
You know.
I don't know. There's something a little enticing to me about having to go somewhere, getting my paycheck, doing what's set up for me, and that's it. Not taking it home, you know, because as we have our own channels, all three of us know it's like you're the showrunner for everything all the time. And sometimes I wouldn't mind just not having to deal with that.
Yeah,
you know, there's a bet positives and negatives for both, right?
Definitely. Yeah, Fight Sports Talk. We're gonna get into all of that. It's a conversation. All right, that's a good question. It's a conversation. We're gonna go in order. Now I want to get to the zone card. That whole DAZN card on YouTube, it was free on YouTube, and I like the whole card. There was some hard body karate fights on there, and I'm not going to go through everything. I'm going to start with did y'all see the Mack truck fight?
Yeah.
I saw that one.
Oh man, let me talk about our good brother Mack truck. He's friend to the Strong House. You know, I met him through Tate Jones. He's from the ATL, and looks can be deceiving. Because there's things that he's not a physical specimen, but there's things that you see him doing in that ring. You know, he's just not in there, just trying to throw heat and get him out of there. The guy's in there thinking. He's
for the viewers, right? About 5'10", 300, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He's and here's what's crazy about that fight. When you watch that fight, you would think he'd be out of gas by like round 1 or 2.
Man, Tony, remember Tony Tubbs?
Yeah, man.
We had a guy in our gym here in Chicago. We called him Bookman. He was.
You called him Bookman?
Yeah,
That's
was a Nigerian. He was a Nigerian guy, and man, he would spar everybody and everything. That dude was so crafty, man. But he was a little older than the other guys in the gym. Like I think he was in his 30s at that time.
Yeah,
and he get in there, man. His defense was tight. You couldn't hit him with a clean, solid shot. He was a little bulky, a little chunky, but he could handle himself. And I love to watch him spar because watching him spar was like watching a live action version of someone explaining to you how to handle yourself.
I got you.
And you know, I would just sit there and watch that guy. And I would just watch him. He could make shots like you throw shots. He could make you hit him on the wrist or on the forearm, off the bicep or something. It was like he could defend himself. And then he would throw these little short shots. Not no power on him because he was never trying to hurt anybody he was working with in the gym. But just short, tight shots. Boom, bam. And he make it look so easy that if you watch him spar, you think like, man, I want to get in there and try that. But it's like that came from years of experience. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he was just beautiful to watch. So when I was watching Mack Truck, I was thinking about Bookman because I was like, this guy know how to handle himself.
Yeah.
And see, that's the beginning. Handling yourself, being able to handle yourself. You don't have to go too fast. You don't have to go too slow. If you know how to, take a step to the side or circle or something like that. It's almost like when Michael Jordan talked about that winning shot against Utah in the last Bulls championship. He said like time slows down.
Yeah.
Fighters who are able to handle themselves like that, they are always operating in that offset rhythm of time. Other guys could be rattled and get tired and huffy like his opponent did, but he was still right there just ready to take advantage of the opportunities that the guy was presenting to himself. And when he dropped them, it was beautiful.
Oh, yeah. That was sharp.
He did like a little dance, right? Or something.
Yeah,
After he did his little dance, but it was the way he set him up to drop him. And the guy he was fighting was a physical specimen, a strong-looking guy.
He looked in better shape. He looked in better shape. He looked in better shape. And Mack Truck set him up, and he threw that sharp uppercut on the inside, right on the beam. And it dropped him. And then he did the dance. I said, man, this kid, he's in there thinking, man. He can, he's not a physical specimen. He might not be in the best of shape, but he can, his IQ will get him in the fight. And people who get in there and think that it's something that it's not, and you find yourself, go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off. There's two definitions of shape. Mm-hmm. You say shape can mean the way you look, right? Mm-hmm. Or it can mean your wind, you get tired, He very well may be in good shape in terms of the second part, the latter. Obviously, the way he looks. So, that's just. I've seen guys. I'm sure you guys have all been in the gyms. You see guys who are overweight or whatever, really overweight, and they spar. They never get tired.
They never get tired. His punch placement.
See, that's what I was saying, Marco, talking about because he knows how to handle himself.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
When you put it like this, and I'm a guy that always like to bring the analogies in, but it helps people crystallize the point. When you're good at something, or when you're confident about something that you're capable in, you feel a sense of security in your output of whatever it is. Some people, like, let's just say, if you know how to paint as a decorator, painting a house, painting rooms, painting pipes, all of that, you know how to do it. So it's like when somebody say, man, I got this big job and I need to hire somebody to do it or whatever. And you're like, yeah, I can handle that. I can take you that. Give me a price. Okay, I'll charge you X, Y, Z. And the person is like, wow, that's a big job. He's only going to charge me this or that. But then you come in and you knock the job out within the time frame that you gave them and everything. You use the minimum amount of materials and you didn't make a mess. It comes out looking professional, of course, because you're a professional, and you're capable, and they're astonished. Next thing you know, they're recommending you to somebody else because you operated within the framework of understanding where your capabilities are. Well, that's the same with boxers.
Let me step in right here because I'm definitely going to get Mack Truck on here because that was an outstanding win. I was very impressed with his ring IQ, and he showed people a thing or two. But after that was the main event. And to speak on the Wolf, Elijah Pierce is in the building, man.
Yes, sir. What's going on, brother?
What's popping, Elijah?
How you doing?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Marco here.
Hey, man. It's a little feedback coming.
You got a little feedback.
Okay, is it better?
Let me see.
No, when we talk.
That's better. That's better.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, man. How you feeling, good brother?
Man, I'm good, bro. I really just been kind of just taking everything in. It's a lot of people have been telling me my fight been making its rounds everywhere. Everybody been seeing me everywhere. So
yeah,
you know, hey, all publicity is good publicity at this point. So it is what it is, man. I'm looking forward to the next fight already.
Yeah, what do you know about this fella Potter? I don't know nothing about him. I'm not even gonna hold you. All I know is that he just got in the ring. What do you know about him?
Honestly, only thing I know about him, I seen him fight at the OTE, against my homeboy when he fought in that overtime round or whatever. That was the first I ever seen of him. And even then, as I was watching him and I found out he was 122, I was like, for real? I beat his ass. That's literally the first thing that came in my head. I said, damn, I beat his ass. And so here we are. We're getting ready to fight June 28th.
See, right back in the ring. What did I just say?
Damn,
I mean, these cats, ain't no rest.
3-4 months,
no
right?
Yeah.
3 months. Let's
for
get
you.
it.
Good for you. How old
Shit,
are you
I
now?
already took 8 months off after Plania, because and that wasn't by choice. So I'm trying to get it, bro. I want the title this year. Whether I gotta go through any way to get it or he vacates or whatever the case may be, I want the title this year.
I want to discuss.
You said what?
How old are you?
27.
Okay, yeah, you got time. You're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to get into that because as I'm watching and like I told you, I was never worried. I don't give a fuck what happened in the second round. I looked. I said, oh, okay. Now you awake? You're awake now? That's all I said. I wasn't worried. But I'm watching it on YouTube and I'm watching the chat. I'm like, keep talking. Because I know how this ends. I knew that. And what impressed me was you didn't try to fly up. You tried to stay up. But when you fell, how you got up, you said, okay. Then you got up. You looked at the ref. He said, step here. You stepped there. You're good. You're getting okay. And I was impressed with your professionalism. All right. And you got out the round. And in between rounds, I said, let me Google this nigga Villanueva. And I said, oh, he could punch. I didn't know that because I didn't know him. I said, oh, okay. So he could punch. So I'm reading the chat. And I'm like, okay. Do you know at least 30 people in there when you stopped that mofo? And no disrespect to him. Everybody was singing a different tune. I don't engage in those chats. But I want you to take me through because you won the first round to me so easy. Take me through what happened in that second round and what was your thought process? How did you recover from that? Because maybe you could drop a gem that fighters can hear that if they go through that adversity. How did you overcome that?
I mean, literally, it was, vividly, I can remember everything. It was just, he hit me with the shot. I was like, oh shit. Like, I couldn't, it was a good shot. It caught me right between my guard. Couldn't feel my legs. My legs kind of went soft. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I think that was probably because of the weight cut. I'm not gonna lie. I did drop a lot of weight real quick. So that probably had something to do with it. But end of the day, when like I say, he caught me with the shot, and I just remember when I went down, I was just more embarrassed than anything. I was just like, damn, I got dropped at home. I already know niggas gonna be trying to talk shit. What do? But then I was just like, man, fuck all that. At the end of the day, this dude, he's not finna stop me. Like there's
Ain't
no
no way,
way
bro.
I'm finna get stopped. Like no way. So that's why I just sat there, took a deep breath. I was like, don't even try to rush. Like jump up and down. I just breathe.
Yep.
Relax. Got back up. Like I said, I made sure that the ref knew I was coherent.
Yes.
So whenever he said something, I made a strong eye contact with him on purpose to let him know I'm good. He asked me if I was good. I said yes, sir. And then I was like, we kept fighting. Then when he came at me, my reflexes were still there. Like I could see everything he was doing. Nothing really changed. It was just my legs was kind of a little staggered. So I was just waiting for that little numb feeling to go away. That's all I was waiting for.
How long did that take?
It took about a minute, 2 minutes. It was probably like, it was to the end of the round. And then after I came out for the third round, it still was there like a little bit, like about the first 30 seconds to a minute, and then it finally went away. When it went away,
It's back to business.
Yeah, exactly. It was regained complete control of the fight after that.
Yeah, salute to my brother Main Event Mark in that super chat. Much love. He said, I already hit you up, bro. You handle your business.
What's up, Mark?
Yes. Salute, man.
Dude.
He did. He sure did. Hit me on Instagram.
Yeah.
Now I got something I want to add here to this
Go ahead.
part of the conversation. And then I'll follow the statement I'm going to make with a question for Elijah. Old trainers used to like for their fighters to go through experiences, not necessarily to take a loss, but to be in a situation that has presented itself where you have to overcome something that may not have been accounted for, or something that is unfamiliar. Because what it does is it adds to the experiences that you take through, not just the fight you're going through with that, but for future reference. It's almost like creating a database for what you do as a fighter. With what happened with your situation there, how do you feel now about having gone through something like that? Because it can affect a person psychologically at the moment that it happens. And I love the fact that you were honest when you said, if anything, I felt embarrassed. You see, because what that tells me is you embraced what happened, recognized, dealt with it, and let it go. When Roy Jones Jr. fought Lou Del Valle,
there you go.
Lou Del Valle dropped him, I think in the 7th round or 8th round, something like that, with a 1-2. And Roy went down almost face first.
Yeah.
But he caught himself on the
camera. Right here in New York.
He did go down. And I know, Marco, that's your guy, so I'm not trying to crap on him. But several rounds later, I want to say maybe going into maybe the 9th or 10th, in between rounds, he was talking to his trainer, Alton Murkison, and he was saying, man, I can't believe that sucker dropped me. Wrong way to look at things, because he didn't think he's supposed to get dropped. You understand? He was still dealing with that psychologically, even though he may have been winning the fight. But he actually was caught on the mic saying this. If Lou Del Valle's people and Lou Del Valle himself knew that Roy was dealing with that in the manner of which he was, which I'm always aware of what goes on with fighters in this fight when you run into opposition, because I was trained and learned to study those things, because you have to have this in order when you're working with somebody to be able to give them the confidence to go out and deal with what they deal with. But for you, what was that like when you came out of that experience? We know the end result of how everything went, but did you not, just like I said, embrace it, dealt with it, let it go, and then went about your business?
Absolutely. First and foremost, let me say that I genuinely believe that I am anointed by God in a sense of my career and my story has all kind of co- like been cohesive in that manner. Like I've went through lesson after lesson early.
Mm.
My first loss, it was more managerial or whatever. Went through that, went through a depression, came back,
Mm.
fought and knocked out Lou DiBella's top prospect at that time, and then got signed to him.
Mm.
After that, I had my first fight under them, under Lou DiBella. Went through a divorce, lost again, took another year and a half off. So I'm going through all these trials and tribulations in my career, or whatever. It kind of prepared me for stuff like that. So as I took the shot, whatever went down, of course, like I said, I was embarrassed. All right, well, damn, it was a good shot. Okay, well, let me not trip. I know the type of dog that I got in me, so I'm not worried about that. I'm like, all right, I'm finna get up and I'm finna jump on his ass. I'm finna beat his ass. Like that's the only thing going through my mind at this point. All right, you know what you got to do: tighten up and relax and go get him. And sure enough, 2 rounds later, he was out of there. And I mean, I knew I was stronger. I knew I was the better fighter. It
Mm.
was just, I commend him on that shot too. I mean, because Arthur's he's actually like a really good guy. Like he's a fucking really good guy.
Mm.
All respect and love to him. But I knew I was a better fighter, and I just knew ultimately I could get him. I just had to be patient and just wait for it to come instead of trying to rush and just knock him out.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You and like I said, I wasn't never worried. I just said, oh, this is your rite of passage. That needed to happen. That definitely needed to happen. And proud of you, kid. Tay Jones in the building. Salute.
A guy, Tay.
What's happening, man? What's up, man? I just really wanted to come up here and this, whenever I start going bad live, this is the type of stuff that I talk about a lot of times, especially when a formidable guy can get in trouble, right? And go through that storm and weather that storm the way you did. That actually should make more of a a fan favorite fighter. That should say,
Yep.
okay, you know what, man? He done went through this storm and he done came back and did this. I know the type of quality work that I'm getting out of this fighter right here, and I could bet on him every time. You know what I mean? So what you did, man, that's definitely to be respected. Then of course you're gonna have the tank fans and things of that nature, but people gotta understand first of all, there's weight classes. Second of all, they got.
I was just about to point that out too. I was like, 'cause that's where mainly where all the heckling and all the negative commentary came from, is because you trying to fight Tank, you trying to
And that's
fight
cool.
in way and shit.
That's
And I'm
cool.
like, dude,
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool. So you look like food right now, is what they're saying.
Yeah, basically,
Yeah.
they're trying to say, oh,
Make the
you
damn fight,
can't
then.
hang.
Make the fight.
Well, the thing about it is, man, that's what you want. Now you got the
Oh yeah,
whole world watching.
don't get me wrong. I ain't tripping. I'm not tripping
yeah.
at the end of the day, because I know what it is. I know my capabilities. You know what I'm saying. You put me in there with anybody, I'm going to rise to the occasion. Like it don't.
Right.
I don't give a fuck what nobody think. It's just end of the day, fans. And that's something I had to learn. Like the more popular or the more I'm being seen in the public eye, that's just something I gotta get used to. And I've already gradually gotten way, way better with it. Cause most of the time, even if I respond, it's out of fun. I'd be just talking shit with people just to do it. I don't really be taking none of it serious anymore. Cause people, they don't know me. They don't know what I went through. They don't know what I've overcame to be in a position that I'm in. Like I fought for every damn thing I got in this sport. I was never handed nothing in this shit. So,
Man.
I mean,
Let me say
at the
this.
end of the day,
I'm gonna say this real quick though.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
No, I'm not gonna say we care what people say, but if people get in our face again, they gonna get slapped again like the last dude did.
Ooh!
That's a fact.
Ooh! Here's what I'm gonna add to this. Here's what I'm
But
gonna
I
add
don't
to
gotta
this.
say no names though.
Yeah, you already know.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm gonna say. Here's what I'm gonna say.
What's up, baby?
I can say, hey, baby girl. I could say that we now know what happens when you get buzzed. We know how you're gonna react. You ain't gonna lay there and just say, you know what? I've seen champions get knocked down, and they can clearly get up, but then they look around, look at the ref, and they go like this. Prime example. Fundora, when he fought Mendoza.
Yep.
He could have got up.
Ryan against
He got
Devontae.
Huh?
Ryan against Tank.
Yeah, Ryan could have got up.
That wasn't a face shop. Elijah, have you been down before as a pro?
Oh yeah, that was my second time ever being down.
Okay.
My first time was against Cabrera.
Okay.
Yeah,
They were even in
my
the
first
chat.
loss.
They're even in the chat talking about you can't beat Casemiro. My thing is run it. Run it.
Boy, I seen that on the YouTube. I was like,
Okay.
wow. I was like,
Run
okay.
it. Run it. And guess what?
Give me that fight too. Oh my, please,
Yeah,
Lord, give me that fight.
they can definitely do that. Now here's the thing. All the guys that they say you can't beat, I don't know what Monster Nui does when he gets dumped on his head. How he's gonna act.
Yeah.
Tank Davis, the same thing. He get dumped on his head. How is he gonna react? I don't know. I'm saying I don't know.
So wait.
But I'm saying run it.
Well, as far as the anyway, I mean, he fucking, what's the name? Donaire, he was putting some stuff on him, and at the same time, so I can commend Inoue, and I know he's a tough fighter. I give him respect, and that's the thing. I don't want people to keep getting this impression that I'm disrespecting him. I respect Inoue. He is a great fighter. It's my whole thing with him. It's his fans. It's like they act like he is just fucking untouchable. Like he
It's
just
always
God
the
of
fans,
boxing,
brother.
and that shit. Of course, it's gonna offend me because I know I'm the fucking best 122-pound fighter in the world, and nobody's not gonna tell me different. So, with that being said,
Elijah, I was going to ask you. You said you had to lose a lot of weight. And I'll be honest. Past couple times I saw you, you look real. Like your face looked drawn. Like you're losing a lot of weight. Why not go up a little bit?
I mean, I plan to. Honestly, I plan to, but at the same time, I'm right there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm right where I want to be. I'm right the fuck there. I've earned my place at that title, and I'm going to get that title.
Okay.
I don't care what obstacles I gotta overcome or face or whatever. I gotta be champ. And I will be champ.
Okay.
Let me say this. What impressed me. I'm glad you didn't, because you admitted that I got dropped. I was a little embarrassed. That's fine. I'm glad you just didn't jump up and just try and run it off, because we all know Zab Judah and Costa Zoo. To me, that was like a day in infamy. I said, "Oh my God, what Zab should have did was laid there listen to the 3 count, roll over, get up on the knee, look at Jay Nady, and then stand up."
He might have not realized, like sometimes, like he was saying, your legs, you up here, you're clear. And you try and stand up, and you're like, oh, I don't think he realized.
And that was like, they still play that online. Like, I mean, and I had Zab winning that fight. That was his coming out party, and that was bad, man. I mean, people clowning and shit, but I mean, I think he should have just laid there, and I was glad to see Elijah take his time getting up. Zab just jumped up, and he wasn't clear as he thought he was, and he fell back down. I mean, it was just bad, But Elijah did good, man. And at this point, what's next? We all know what you want next, but what's next moving forward now? Do you have anything planned? Can you reveal that information? Or
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, June 28th, we back at the OTE against Para. You know what I'm saying? After I dust his ass off, then I think either that fight or the fight after is the eliminator. and I'll get one of the guys I've been asking for. I don't know if that'll be Goodman, Aleem, Casemiro. It'll be one of them. I'm sure. And then I can finally put to rest all the damn concerns that these fans keep having. Oh, well, you ain't fought nobody. Okay, well, I've been begging for these fights. I want these fights.
Right.
I've never been against earning my place. I've like I said, I've earned everything I got in this damn sport. Everything. So I want the big fights.
But then you also got to keep in mind people who say that you really don't watch boxing. They just fan of their favorite fighters.
True.
Yeah. That's a fact.
True.
That's a
No,
fact.
and you're doing a great job at promoting yourself. You know, the things you do with the weigh-ins and all that. It's real, unique. It stands out, and you're not being disrespectful. You know what I mean? You're just entertaining, and you're branding your brand into other people's brains, and it's real smart.
Elijah, I got another question for you. Are you? I'm not certain that I don't know who's your promoter, but I wanted to ask: are you open to traveling outside the U.S. to fight?
Oh hell yeah! I mean, honestly, my dream is to go to Japan. That's my top destination. So that's why I kind of made. I feel like me getting that anyway fight is honestly kind of a full circle moment.
That'd be dope.
So that's how I've always felt about it, to be honest. So
the reason I asked that question,
even if it was in the UK against Sam Goodman or wherever else, I mean not UK or Australia or wherever, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, the reason I asked that question is because, times have shifted where guys don't kind of want to move and things like this. But to gain the experience of being a traveled man as a fighter, to go and fight on foreign soil, not necessarily for titles, just, to be able to go to a hostile environment or unfamiliar environment, because that adds to the data bank that I spoke of earlier. And therefore, when you're actually fighting for a championship or something, and maybe having to do it off soil, a familiar ground, you're adjusted and adapted already. And see, a lot of guys, they don't think like that. But I'm from a different ilk and time and belief of this, because it continues to help you become a more rounded fighter when you've done that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just something to bear in mind. But it's great to hear that you say that you are open to it, because believe it or not, there's quite a few guys that are not.
I don't make any excuses, or at least I do my best. Like, I just try to be real and tell the truth. Just be 100 about everything. And I just try to be 100 about everything. So, I mean, I'm not trying to make nothing difficult. I'm not trying to be a little princess about. I just want to earn my place, earn my money. You know what I'm saying? My fault. Earn my place in history. You know what I'm saying? And shit, do what I set out to do.
You're doing great, man.
It really ain't got to be that complicated. Like,
You're doing great. You're doing really well. You have overtimes behind you, right?
I feel like I'm on vacation. Me too.
Say it one more time, Marco.
Oh, you have overtime behind you, right? They're working with you?
Yeah. I'm right now I'm currently working with overtime and Brendan Gibbons at Viva Promotions.
Okay. No, that's great, because they're really promoting you well. I get a lot of shorts and feeds about you and stuff that just pops up. So yeah, man, I think you're being patient, you're making the right moves. I think it's just a matter of time.
Man, that's all I can hope for, man. I'm very grateful too. Like, I'm just all about genuine support. Those who have their best interest in me, and and it being reciprocated with my best efforts. And also, so.
I put out videos about you. I got you.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's exactly.
Those get a lot of views too, man.
Perfect example. Like I said, Drew. Me and Drew, we had got a great relationship. You know what I'm saying? To me and Tay, me and you. You know what I'm saying? And So it's all love at the end of the day.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
all like mutual reciprocation.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. So the next step is going to be that once you get past Para, we're going to talk it up. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do some more research on this. For I ain't going to hold you. Yesterday when he got in the ring, that was the first time I ever saw him. So I'm going to start paying attention to who he is. And get past him, now you hopping at Eliminator. So
Man, I'm knocking his ass out because really, well, one thing I do know is that, and I learned this from Shakur. People are only going to view you as good as your last performance. And even though what I did, my last performance, I had one little mistake or whatever. I still got the job done in early fashion. I mean, I still knocked him out. But since they want to hold on to the little bullshit, knockdown or whatever. Watch what I do to Para, and then watch how that's going to shift, and they're going to forget about that, because that's just how this. Well, I guess I'll say my generation, whatever. That's just how it works now. Like the minds are so finicky. They don't really care about a lot of the real aspects of the sport anymore. They just more for they're more worried about the entertainment factor. So
yes, we
it
we
is what it
we,
is.
we deal with that daily. We're having two different conversations. I like to talk to people that look at boxing as a whole, because I'm not only here to share my opinions about it, but I like learning from people who share the same opinions as myself. And
Right.
it's difficult when you're dealing with someone that's like, I like to have an educated conversation about Tank, which I'll be doing tomorrow morning, in comparison to another popular fighter. But I can't have a educated discussion about Tank. I can't have an honest discussion about Tank when someone is just telling me that Tank has great tattoos. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm trying to talk about this. And you talking about tattoos, purses, and fast cars. I'm like, we're having two different conversations here. You understand? And then that's when those are the people online. And that's why, like, when I do get a troll in the chat, one of the things that I like to ask is, how old are you? Because I'm not going back and forth with somebody that was born in 2005. I can't talk to that person. I'm talking about records and what they're doing, what belts they haven't held, what fights they didn't take, and you're talking about how dope his tattoos are. It's like it's two different conversations. I want to talk about the sport as a whole. I want to have an honest conversation. I like what you said. Don't nobody remember Roy Jones getting dropped by Lou Deval. Don't nobody remember that. But it happened. I know I saw it. It happened. You know, and you got to remember, Antonio Tarver, he had a drug problem. He got stopped.
You're really breaking up. I don't know if it's just me, but
I think Elijah's on the move. He got stopped, and he eventually got the Roy fight, and things took off for him. So things are what they are, man, and I'm cool with that, man. But listen, Elijah, I know you on the move, good brother. I don't want to hold you. I know you're on the move with your family and everything, man. I just wanted to say congratulations to you, man. And you already know, brother. We here, bro. We here.
No, for sure, man. Much love to you, bro. You already know how we rocking. To all you guys as well, man. Like I said, I'm looking forward to a big rest of the year too. Like I said, I'm on a mission to become champ. Just point blank, period. Whoever I gotta go through to do that, I'm willing to take on the challenge. I don't care if it's any way. I don't care. I don't care. And just to even clarify this whole Tank situation, I never even called Tank out. They was trying to put that out there that I called him out. I never called him out. I just said that I would fight him if he's so damn mad about this 10-year-old sparring session that he keeps getting offended on just because I fucking touched his ass up when I was 17 years old. So I mean, it's just that simple. Like if you're that pressed about it, you're that hurt, you're that mad. We can fight. That's all I said. I'm not trying to fight, and we in three three weight classes apart. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not looking to make a big issue out of the damn situation,
How,
but he just keeps
how old were you in that sparring footage?
17, and he
How old
was
was
I
Tank?
think he was 20.
He was 20. Here he go again, fighting people younger than him and having a problem.
And no,
then
not even just older than me. He was bigger than me too. He was 25 fucking pounds bigger than me.
In that sparring, he was 25 pounds
Yes,
heavier?
he was 25 pounds bigger than me in that sparring. I was 128. He was 155.
Yo, you were cracking him coming in. Perfect
That's what
timing.
I'm saying. People was like, "Oh, he was just walking through your shots." Of course, I'm 17, 128 pounds. Like,
wait a minute.
it's crazy, man. But guys, my phone better die too. So like I said, it's always a pleasure, man. I'll holler at you guys soon.
Peace
All right,
out,
I'll
man.
talk to you. All right, good brother.
All right.
Peace.
Peace. Yo, man,
Yo, whoa.
I didn't know. And
I didn't
salute to Tay. I think Tay fell off, but
I didn't know he was 17 either.
I knew he was 17. I didn't know the age difference. I didn't know the weight difference until just now. See
Actually,
this shit?
that's the video that made Tank go on my page and say some mean shit to me. I think it was that one that I put out.
Oh man, he attacked you. He attacked Steve Cunningham. He attacked a few people. I was like, whoa, relax,
Steve
dog.
Cunningham?
Yeah.
What'd Steve do? Or what Steve
Oh,
said?
man. Steve talked about it. I forgot what he said, but if you go to his page, he screenshot it and put it on his gram. They got into it. I think they got into it on Twitter too. And Steve ain't say anything. He just say, "Yo, in my era, the best fought the best." And then this guy caught a whole titty attack.
Yeah, he gets very upset very easily. And he deletes a lot of stuff. I hear he'll write something and he'll delete it. It's like that happens a lot. I think he deleted mine.
Listen, I'm gonna have a whole honest conversation about Tank. I'm not gonna clown him. I'm gonna do it tomorrow. I'm not gonna clown him. I'm just gonna ask these simple questions. And like I said, when it comes to Tank Davis, you can't word salad me. You can't start doing all kinds of dick math, like putting fractions and carry the one to the 8th power. You can't do that with me. I keep it very simple here. Now, I did not know until 5 seconds ago that not only Elijah was younger than Tank, but here we go again. He was 155 that day. And Elijah was like, what did he say, 128?
Yeah.
And Elijah was giving him all kinds of headache. So here he go again, fighting a smaller guy, a younger guy, and that guy's giving him all the headache in the world.
Correction. He was sparring. Now, see, sparring is, again, that has to be understood. When you're sparring in there, you're in a position of a classroom, really. And social media now, which is more prominent than it was for the previous generation of fighters, some of these people have taken that as a way of exposure for fighters. And what you do in the gym, it happens. Guys get dropped in the gym. They suffer injuries in the gym. They have bad days in the gym where somebody just has the best of them. Typically, the overseers of the best gyms will make sure that there's great work to be had in there, but it never goes beyond a situation of where you are, because you're not getting paid, when you're just working with somebody. Now, there are sparring partners who are brought into camps for sparring, and typically even they are asked or requested to present the fighter who has hired the sparring, present them with certain looks and tactics and things of that nature, because that's what you're working on, building toward the fight that your fighter is getting ready to have. But again, all of this, just because you got in there and you sparred somebody, it doesn't mean, it's like, okay, remember Clarissa Shields and this whole thing?
Yeah.
It came out recently about her and sparring somebody. That was work in the gym. You know what I mean? And that wasn't a paid match. That wasn't her versus Savannah Marshall or any of those other people. It was people in the gym, and some of them were men. But why does that become so much more prominent than what you're doing when the lights are on and you're actually receiving a purse for a match? You see, but think about it. All this superficial crap with modern social media and everything, and these people who get in their feelings, and you said it yourself, Drew, a little while ago, that some of these people, it's about their, who they like and all of this. They try to make that be the headline that's above and out front in front of everything. Yeah. That's foolishness. Don't work on people like myself. So it's like, listen, there are guys who have had horrible sparrings, right? But then they get in the ring and they look like $1 million. Mm-hmm. How do you explain that? Does that mean that he wasn't taking the sparring serious? Does that mean that he was saving something in reserve? Does that mean that he was privately working on something for himself and knew that when he got in there, when the lights were on and it was live, that he was going to flip a switch? You see, what I'm saying, it makes a lot of sense, but it's not what people want to hear.
Yeah. Let's move to the PBC Amazon Prime event. There has some good things going on there. I want to start at the let's start the Eris Landry Lara fight. Wow.
Nah.
No, you don't want to start there?
With Carmel Moulton, man.
All right, let's go there. Let's go there.
Can't pass over this young man. The reason why I'm saying this is this. He's had a lot of traction. Mm-hmm. In his third pro fight, they put him in an 8-rounder against Anthony Cuba, who came into the fight as a winning fighter himself. And these two guys fought like two veterans. I mean, Moulton was everything as advertised, but the opponent in Cuba was not expected to be able to stand and withstand what he had to offer. But not only that, he was giving some stuff back, and he hit Moulton with some fire as well. I like the fact that these young men went out there and they were competitive on this night, and they opened the card up. They opened the card up, setting the stage for what was to come. They may even face each other again down the line in a rematch.
I ain't mad at that at all.
It was that good. And the thing about it is, Cuba came away like, hey, man, I was here to win. They may have given him a decision, but hey, let's run it back. That's what you want to hear from these fighters of today. That's what really will drive the sport forward. And Moulton was happy to be in the fight. He wasn't ducking his head like, oh, I got away with one or not. Yeah. No, he was glad. As the ebb and flow happened during the fight, you could see that he was enjoying the challenge.
He was happy to be there, man. And
that is a wonderful thing to see. That's a wonderful thing to see. Yeah. Because you have guys who are at the top of the sport throughout the divisions of boxing who do not have that same disposition. They do not. And they're milking their careers off of that.
They seized the moment. They sure did. And I was concerned, ain't the word. I was very interested as to what kind of event they were going to put on, because this was their first pay-per-view on Amazon Prime. And I'm going to give PBC a passing grade. I don't know what the numbers are. People that wish failure on the PBC, I know they're scrambling like eggs on a Sunday morning right now. I hope they failed. I know they didn't do that many well. I know they didn't do that many buys, whatever. I bought it, so it is what it is. But before we move on, and salute to Morton and company. But before we move on, there was a fail yesterday. Marco, was Zab Judah in Vegas yesterday? Do you know?
Yeah, he's been in Vegas for a while.
You sure?
I don't know about yesterday, but I know he's been in Vegas. I talked to him like last week, and he was in Vegas.
Really? That's him?
He actually is in Vegas, but that's obviously not him. That's what's his face? Ugas.
Whoa! What the pretty before it gets started, ain't it? Oh, Froggy when he courtin', he did ride Crambo. Froggy when he courtin', he did ride Crambo.
What? I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. I mean, cotton was flying out my mouth. I said, did they just? I said, wait a minute. You hit the rewind. I'm like, oh shit. No, listen, man. I know we all look alike. Eddie Hearn. I mean, I know I look just like Blue Blood in public. But
Not
I mean,
at all.
goddamn. I said, how do you not? And they put it on the screen. I said, oh. Do you remember when Michael Clark Duncan passed? And who did they put on the screen on the news?
I don't
They put
remember.
Terry Crews. They said Michael Clark Duncan passed. They had a picture of Terry Crews on the
No.
news.
Drew, here in New York, I don't know if you remember this, when Joe Frazier died, do you remember who was on the front page of the Post?
No.
Foreman. When Joe Frazier died, I swear to God, somebody made a mistake, and it was a front page picture of Foreman. You could probably Google it and find it. It was only here. I think it was either the Post or I think it was the Post.
They fired the shit out that dude. I swear to God, whoever did that, he kicked in the door. Get out! Get from your desk!
I'll try and find it here.
I'm not kidding. Michael Clark Duncan died. It was like sudden. He was like, oh no, he was just taking off. And on the news out here, ABC, Channel 7, they had a picture of Terry Crews, and I said, he died? I was like, oh hell no. What? I said, wait, that's not Michael Clark Duncan. Oh my God. And just recently, some shorty is sitting down doing an interview with Dana White and says to him, so what does Joe Rogan want to do? And he's looking at her like,
Yeah, I remember this. This is recent.
what
Yeah.
does Joe Rogan want to do? What do you mean? Why would I know what he...
All us white people look alike.
Yeah, she said, oh, I thought you were Joe Rogan. You done flew this man out from the other side of the country
Did he get
to do
upset?
an interview, and you thought that was Joe Rogan?
Did he get offended or he didn't care?
It was so brutal. And mind you, this was a black woman doing the interview, y'all. It was so brutal. I just turned the video off because that shit was embarrassing.
It happened with. Do you remember they thought that Samuel Jackson was somebody else? Who they think he was again?
They thought he was the brother from the who does the insurance commercials. The brother with the deep voice.
Oh, the from Major League.
Is that him?
From Major League.
I think his last name is Hesworth or something like that. But I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
No, they thought Samuel Jackson was somebody bigger. He goes, they were like, oh, so it was good seeing you, presenting at the Grammys. He's like, the Grammys? I wasn't at the Grammys. Who the hell do they think he was?
Fucked up. I did see that.
It was like maybe Morgan Freeman. I forget who it was, but that was funny.
That was bad. That was bad. But salute to the PBC. I caught that and I said, man, and Mr. Shelton, shout out to him. I saw it, but I didn't take a picture. Mr. Shelton was on it. He said, yo, did you see this shit? I said, yep, video coming soon. My God. Yeah, they thought he was Morgan Freeman.
That's what it was? Okay.
Oh my God. I said, well, they can't have that. They can't do that much. But anyway, let's go to the card itself. First of all, it was a satisfying night of boxing. I wasn't disappointed in the event. Presentation was well. They didn't drag the event on like in between fights. They didn't kill us with commercials and things of that nature. They showed the Australian commentary a lot of love. And it didn't work out for the Australians too hot. Which brings us to Iris Landry Lara versus what's the brother's name? Zarafa? That's his name? That's how you say his name? Salute to the Donaires because they were in his corner. Nonito trained him. And my gosh. Lara's, what is he, 40 now? Stormy, how long has he had what's going on? He's a belt holder?
Lara has held a belt for 25 years, man. The WBA crown. And the funny thing about it is he's gotten better as a fighter, and people don't want to fight the guy because of his Cuban boxing background experience. 2, he's a southpaw.
Marco, read.
And 3, wow.
What were you laughing at?
Read
What did he call me?
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's joking.
You're officially black, Marco.
Marco, come on, stop
right there.
You got collard greens in your fridge right now.
I love collard greens.
Right now.
I do. Mustard greens too.
My
specific.
goodness. Man.
Oh shit. Go ahead, Stormy.
I lost my place. I don't even remember what I was saying. Anyway, no, but Lara has gotten better, and it seems like with the age of his, he was once a very mobile fighter. He moved about the ring kind of like a larger version of Sweet Pea. His footwork was commendable. But as he settled more on his feet, he has found that he can clock people.
Yeah.
Because his punch placement has always been good, but he wasn't settled to let it fly. We're seeing the results of what happens when he does. And that's kind of typical of guys who were once noted movers, and then they kind of decide to settle in a little bit and settle down and put some meat on their shots. My thing is in asking Lara is, what is his end game? Because there are stouts periods of inactivity, and then he comes back and he does something like this, and then he's off the scene again for a while. And he turns 41 next month. So what's his end game? I think he should fight. I think he should fight and unify with Zanabek. I think he should.
Why not? He can't just be hanging around just to do it. I mean, just for the sake of staying active. Do something, make a move. He's gonna be 41 next month. You got to make a move now. I text Rachel, and I was like, "Damn." I think Zarafa was lined up for a Sue fight, but he had pulled out due to injury. I think I didn't hear exactly what was said, but he came to Vegas, and that happened. He was on center line, man. That's like a southpaw's dream. And I don't know what we saw what happened, but I don't know how he wasn't. I don't know. That was an ill mistake, and I saw it coming. Like, uh-oh. And if you saw Lara for the first time, you would think he was a knockout artist, and he's not. Well, we don't know. Like I said,
He
like
is now. He wasn't. At one time, he was not.
he's sitting down on his shit now, so he might have a whole new game that we ain't know about. You know what I mean? And that's crazy. So he looked good, but maybe he looked good against the opponent that he was in there with. You know, and salute to Zarafa. I know they mentioned his sister was there, and she's battling breast cancer. You know, so salute to them. I hope he was, you know, paid handsomely. And, you know, he's a young kid. I don't know. He looked young. He looked fairly young. So I'll trust he'll be back. Go to the drawing board. Don't hold your head low. And get back to work. Get back to work, man. So this leads us to our co-main event. Let's talk about the co-main event. Let's talk about it. Pitbull Cruz versus Rolly Romero. Now, I must say, Rolly could have physically he was supposed to win this. Well, I'm not gonna say he was supposed to win. He could have fought different, but he doesn't have the talent that everyone else in that division has. He tried to box. He tried. And from round one, Pitbull was not fucking around. He was throwing heat. And I said, oh, no. This ain't going to the cards. Now, here's the thing with Pitbull.
That first punch that when Pitbull threw and it whizzed by him. You know what I'm talking about? It was like the second punch, and everybody was like, "Oh boy!"
Yeah, I knew it. I said he lands that, and then about maybe a few seconds later, he did.
He did.
And he was on Boogie Wonderland. I got to tell you something, man.
You're breaking a little bit, Drew.
I am.
Stormy's breaking up for you too, right?
Am I breaking up?
Or maybe I'm just breaking up.
Okay. Real quick, salute to main event Mark. 2 years in that strong out. He said battle of the tie. Yeah, man. Rolly, there's no smoke and mirrors with him. I remember watching him and his former trainer. He was talking about, we don't like boxers. We don't like. Now you see why you need to learn how to move your ass. Because I'm gonna tell you something about Pitbull. I love his story. He's no nonsense. He's one of those throwback fighters. Granted, if the business doesn't get in the way, Pitbull Cruz is one of those throwback fighters. You put him in the ring, he's going to fight you. No bullshit. And at the end of the night, he called out everybody. He called out Tank. He called out Devin. He called out everybody. And he's one of those throwback guys. Well, I'll say that now until they start showing their ass and doing something different. But Pitbull could definitely be outboxed because I've seen it. I've seen him get outboxed. I've seen Tank outbox him, and I've seen who's the kid that Freddie Roach trained?
Giovanni Cabrera.
Yeah, I thought he beat him, and I saw that live. I thought he beat him. You know, in fact, after that fight, I said, Ryan's better than this kid. I think Ryan could outbox Pitbull if he could survive the first few rounds. I think he could outbox him. But I love his story. However, dare I say, Rolly was kind of made to order for him. Now that I think about it. Now, I did think that if Rolly gets out of round 3, if he's able to box, I thought he would take Pitbull into deep waters and win it. But it wasn't a lack of focus on him. It wasn't a lack of discipline on him. This is what you saw Rolly do in the ring. That's just who he is. That's the extent of his boxing IQ. He's a strong kid, but he wasn't catching Pitbull clean enough to hurt him.
He was trying, He was like,
trying. E for effort, but he really didn't have nothing for him. Stormy, your thoughts on that fight? It was exciting.
My hat goes off to Rolly for showing a lot of resilience, for showing a lot of cojones. And I feel for him that the people who have worked with him haven't cultivated his abilities enough to deal with someone like who he faced last night, because if they had, that fight was a shoe-in for him. I don't know how many right hands Rolly threw, but almost each and every one of them landed. They were not set up. He was just pop shotting. And if a shot is set up, it's the punch that a fighter doesn't see that gets him in trouble. So quite naturally, he had the quickness to let it rip and it was landing, but nothing set the shot up. So quite naturally, a guy can get conditioned to being hit with a certain type of an impact, and there was nothing ever changed up. Pitbull is so woefully one-dimensional, it's ridiculous. For those people who get so excited about him, I'm going to really rain on your parade when I say what I'm about to say. For the guys that he's defeating, and the guys that he may defeat in the future beyond this, because they're going to give him some soft touches now that he's won a title, because they want to promote that ethnically and for business sake. He doesn't have what's built to last. Fighters like he burn out like a Roman candle. Okay? Because you only have so many in you that you can take. And he is a take a punch, give a punch type fighter. But the guard that he fights behind, that little high guard with his neck tucked in, and he doesn't really have much of a neck. You know, like some guys have a longer neck than others. He's kind of got a short neck.
He's built like a running back.
But fighters who know how to box can set him up. And they can set him up for the shots that he doesn't see and things like that. And the way that he rushes in, the old adage, and I just spoke about this like a little over a week or two ago. I said, when they leap, they get put to sleep.
That's right.
And he's a leaper. He leaps in. I said on my post-fight show last night, I said, one of the most simplistic things that you could do to a guy like he, to take everything away from him. Rolly was tying him up, but he forgot the second part of tying up because maybe his coaching trainer didn't teach him these things. You tie a guy up and you walk him counterclockwise.
Now, why is that, Stormy?
Because what it does is it takes him off the balance of his position. Then he has to reset and regather himself. And when you do this within the rhythm and sequence of the fight, when you work on this in the gym, you also work on how to get your shots off while doing this as well. The second thing is to walk him backwards. When you tie him up, you walk him straight back. You switch it up, because what happens is when you're just clinching and holding, the referee, like last night, he's noticing that you're holding excessively and everything, and he's going to, start getting involved like the ref did last night. But if you're doing the other things, you're still giving the illusion of action taking place. Walking him backwards, what that will do is it wears on the legs.
Yes.
Because you remember, he's doing everything coming forward. His aggression is leaping into you and diving into you. So you take that back. Evander Holyfield did it against Mike Tyson in their first fight. It's a great fight to watch for that kind of thing. You lock
if you know
that
what you're looking at, yeah.
In Pitbull's case, it's really his left hook. You tie that left hook up and you walk him counterclockwise. Now he's got to get back on point because he's an orthodox fighter to try to get back into this. It becomes a mental fatigue thing to guys who haven't had this done to them. Walking him straight back. Walk him straight back. And just before the ref steps in, yank, 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 and step back from him. Make him reset. But see, This is why I said before, you could tell that the trainers aren't training these guys. They're in the gym hitting the bag or hitting pads, and the trainer's like, oh, you're looking like $1 million. How? Bags don't hit back, pads don't hit back. So what are you doing? Then if you're sparring in the gym and you don't have someone emulating the style where your coach can break down what's effective against that style and do these things, then it's like it's all for naught. And he did look like a rudderless ship at points. One of the best things he was doing was when he was dancing away from Pitbull, making him have to march after him. That mobility that Rolly was showing was very effective, because there's not a lot of guys who have mobility like what Rolly showed, but he didn't have the other tools to put with it.
That's right.
So it's incomplete. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But for the punishment that he took and everything, he never went to the canvas, and he was dazed and confused, but he hung in there. There is so much to build with Rolly that it is more with him than it is with Pitbull.
That's right.
I wish a good trainer would want to get with that kid and teach him something, because he's still young enough. Someone like Derek James could probably help him better than Ryan Garcia.
He has tools, man.
But it's like I'm sitting there out of frustration looking at the television, because I'm like, man, he could have did this, he could have did that. How many uppercuts did you see Rolly land? Not many, because they weren't thrown. And the uppercuts are not necessarily to catch him through the high guard, catch him on the chin, but you uppercut him to the stomach and the breadbasket. Those are shots he can't see. He can't see those shots. These are the kind of strategy and tactics. You hit him with a good shot to the belly and the breadbasket, that brings him forward. Then you drop that left hook over around to the liver. Bam! I'm telling you, he's not going to keep running in there on an experienced boxer who's capable, because he's food. You ever go to Chinatown and you see that meat hanging on the hooks in the windows of them shops? That's Pitbull in that division. He can call out whoever he want to call out, but everybody's sitting up there doing like this.
That's right. That's right. And I'm gonna share this with you. Rolly as a trainer, you're supposed to make your fighter conform to your system. I mean, I understand amplifying the tools, the natural tools that they do have, but you're supposed to make that fighter conform to the system, because you're hired and your task is to help that fighter win that fight. And that fighter has to conform to your system. That's why when Goosen said what he said about Ryan Garcia when he was prepping for Tank, when Goosen said Ryan brings ideas to the training and normally he's 100% correct, something he said. I did a video on that. I said Ryan's going to lose because he's not listening to Goosen. You're the trainer, man. You're supposed to help this kid win this fight. He didn't hire you to come in there and say, nah, Joe, let's do this. No, do what I'm telling you to do. Now, who the hell was telling him, listen, that fight was winnable for Rolly. And listen, I know there's a lot of people banging on their chest, Mexican pride. I get it, man. It was an exciting fight. But there was a lot of things that I saw that a good boxer with good feet you'll see a different form of Pitbull. Like I said, Tank fought that young man with one hand. He couldn't really touch him. Cabrera, the Freddie Roach's guy, he was never in any trouble versus Pitbull Cruz. I thought Pitbull lost that fight. I said, ooh, there goes that. But Rolly was made to order. Rolly was made to order. And he did not do what needed to be done. And that what you saw was a failure in the corner. Because he has the physical attributes there. Broly was in shape. You saw the six-pack. That's the first thing I look for. He was in shape. And that's probably why he ain't fall right away, because he was in shape. But he didn't have the necessary education to beat Pitbull Cruz. And I'm promising you, they talking about, I saw one of the brothers in the chat said that MP wants to make him versus Matias next. It's not a good fight for Pitbull. It's really not. Him versus Teofimo's not a good fight. Teofimo moved too much. And T.O. strong. You understand? So this is fool's gold. So let me go to our brother T.D. Harden, who asked us earlier. He said, not to change the topic, but is anyone surprised that Rolly got super exposed, Bambi legs, and all? I wasn't. I know. Well, he didn't have the proper teachings in the corner. You know, and that's why he failed. Josiah Matthews, he says, aside from boxing, Roll Tide, Alabama in the Final Four, just leaving my home state, back to Arkansas. I saw Wilder statue of LDBC for life. I appreciate the drive by, good brother. And drive safe. Drive safe. Drive safe. Salute to you. Corners are so important, man. Corners are so important. And at this point, if Rolly doesn't get the proper teachings in his camp, he's going to be, look, I'm not being funny. He's already talking funny now. That's just how he is. But in about 5 years, it's not going to be funny anymore when his speech is slurred and everybody's trying to get him on the podcast because they want to laugh at him.
You saw him right after the fight when he was interviewed?
Yeah, I didn't find that funny, man. You know what I'm saying?
It looked, she was, that's Plant's wife, right?
Yeah.
He was being a little Larry Merchant-esque. Like, so you got embarrassed.
I'm glad you said that, Marco. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because I mentioned a little bit of that last night, but I'm glad you said it because it's important to articulate certain things that are right in front of your face and evident, but just thank you for saying that.
No problem. And she seemed, you know, it was a mix of Larry Merchant and when Tim Bradley goes on one of his Tim Bradley, she was being real insensitive and almost rude, definitely not professional.
As if she had a horse in the race. You know what I'm saying?
What?
As if she had a horse in the race for what he was saying and what was going on.
She didn't like him, and she was trying to basically embarrass him.
That threw me off. I said to myself, did they have like a personal issue? Or what happened? She wasn't supposed to give media. You're not supposed to take. She's supposed to be impartial when it comes to these guys. What they're going through is what they're going through. Not even Pitbull tear him down after that. He did what he had to do.
Yeah, it was rude.
I was like, why she say that to him? I was just a little confused by that.
Do you guys remember it was something like, you know, you just got knocked out. You said you were. It was just real harsh. I don't really remember. Like, and unnecessary. I remember thinking that.
Especially for this is the first Amazon Prime pay-per-view event. And it's not like, you know, it's like she had been around with PBC when it was on NBC and everything before in the past. And she been chomping at the bit. She let it rip against somebody. That's kind of the way I took it. And I didn't like that at all.
No, and Rolly usually, you know, but he couldn't even defend himself. He was so out of it. He was just like, Jesus is resurrected.
And see, that's another thing. Your coach and trainer should be able to protect you. And they did not protect that kid because he was not in the right frame of mind to give an interview. He was battered pretty badly, guys. And because he didn't lay down on the canvas and get counted out, that's not the greatest thing in the world that he was on his feet. The greatest thing in the world would be for his freaking coach to throw the towel in because he was being hit and indefensible. He couldn't defend himself. And again, a chief second is supposed to be there for you under all circumstances. I talk about this all the time. When I say these guys coaching these fighters today are piss poor, I don't say it because I'm sitting at a point and perch of jealousy. I know what they're supposed to be doing, and they're supposed to be engaging. When that man was awarded that title, because I'll say awarded the title, he didn't really win the title.
Agreed.
He should have been in a position where handlers, managers, or whatever hired a good coach, and put him in a position where he was on a fast track learning curve. That didn't happen. And what's worse about it, he's one of the best personalities in the sport that you could have.
Yeah.
And they're ruining it. You could say what you want to say about Al Heyman and PBC, but they have done some dirty, nasty things to a lot of fighters. And I'm here to say it. And I don't like it.
I'm with you.
Dirtbags, man.
Yeah, I'm with you.
We've been saying it, bro.
I don't know what that was about, but you know, that's what it was.
Listen, y'all. It's going on about 4 years now. After Wilder Fury 2, I came home, turned on the TV, and I said, who the fuck let Larry Merchant in the house? Bye-bye, Miss American Pie. Is this the last we've seen of the, no offense, great black hopes? And I was like, oh my God, who the fuck? Who let that? This motherfucker? He said that at the post fight. Him,
Larry
Sean
Merchant
Porter.
said that?
Larry Merchant said that. It's on YouTube. He said it next to Sean
The
Porter.
last of the Black Hopes, he said?
Yes, is this the last? And he said, no offense, is this the last of the great black hopes? Man, I almost threw my Timberland through the damn screen.
Jesus.
So who the fuck said? And I said, yo, wait a minute. This is a PBC show?
Wow.
Why you acting like y'all don't know who the fuck this guy is?
I never liked him. Ever.
No, he shit on Larry Holmes to his face. He shit on Bernard Hopkins to his face.
And he'd sit there and argue. He'd argue with George Foreman about boxing technique. It's like, you never took a punch in your life. What do you, shut up.
He went back and forth. He did it to Roy.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, when Andre Ward was fighting Kovalev, this is a guy they shared the mic with. But they were basically, if you go back and listen to what they say, it's like, my God.
They encouraged the referee to disqualify Roy against what's his name?
Griffin.
When he fought
Montel Griffin.
Montel Griffin.
Hometown man.
It was like, oh, he should be disqualified right now. And they were
God.
like, it's like he done commentary sitting next to these guys. And
you know what said a lot to me about him, guys? Sorry to cut you off, Stormy. You know what said a lot to me? When he got in that thing with Floyd. And Floyd's like, you don't know shit about boxing. And his response was, if I was 50 years younger, I'd kick your ass. Now,
Oh, yeah, that was personal.
Two things, though. He would have not kicked his ass if he was 50 years younger. That's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard. There's no way he would have ever. It's like, that's how arrogant he is. That's where his brain goes. That's some severe arrogance.
Yeah. And he said that to a guy that was carrying that network. And this was in the middle of the European invasion. You brought in Gennady Golovkin, you brought in the Klitschko's. They were trying to bring in Joe Calzaghe, but he was fighting on Showtime. They were trying to flood us with these Europeans, and we were like, "What the fuck is going on?" And then when he did that to Floyd, I said, "You know what? Something gonna happen here." And then, look, like a couple of years later, that was the end of HBO boxing. Good. I don't miss him. Not with that shit.
Look at yourself.
Salute
first.
to TD Harden. Back in that suit, he said Rolly was out on his feet a few times, should have been stopped sooner. That was what I was saying to my daughter. Yeah, man, I don't know what the fuck is going on with this corner. And those refs last night were very generous. They were very generous last night. Because that Rolly Romero, I wasn't laughing. I mean, the first round, when he got buzzed and he didn't fall, I'm like, uh-oh. And I said, okay, he ain't get him out of there. Let's see if he could turn this around. But then after a while, when it wasn't going as I thought it would, I said, you know what? This ain't looking safe, man. It's not looking safe for this kid. And I'm telling you, man, if Rolly can't get some proper coaching, I want to see him make a few million and just walk away from this shit, because somebody's gonna get him killed, man, and that's what you don't want.
I think it might be over for him. I don't know who else. I mean, maybe he could fight Ryan. If Ryan loses to Haney, which he probably will, maybe him and Rolly, last fight for Rolly where he can make any money.
Yeah, I don't know what else he's gonna do, especially at 140. Because he's used. I did not like that fucking post fight. He looked high, and when you look like that,
he has bell rung, and that could go away because it was immediately after the stoppage. But you're right. No, he did look high. He looked very glassy.
Yeah, I didn't like that. He was in outer space, like he didn't comprehend. Is that English or Spanish? I know he speak both.
Yeah,
he was just like trying to register. He was looking. You saw him looking around.
Yeah, and the sad part is like there's a lot of us who are happy about it slightly, and it's because unlike Elijah Pierce, Rolly promotes himself in a very kind of obnoxious, offensive way. You know what I'm saying? So he almost puts it on himself for people to sit there instead of feeling bad for him, be like, well, that's what you get when you're that obnoxious to people. I mean, I've had some interactions with him, you know, personally, and he's kind of douchey, you know.
Yeah, you know, it's shtick. You know, I could brush that off. It's shtick, but it is what it is. And you're right, Jerry Alexander. He said Dmitry Pirog was the best. Dmitry Pirog, he was a whole problem. Dmitry Pirog, if he don't get hurt, we wouldn't be talking about Gennady Golovkin. He'd have beat the shit out of Gennady Golovkin. Dmitry Pirog is a guy that knocked out Danny Jacobs when they were about to put a lot of stock in Danny, and he knocked Danny out. And that was before, you know, the cancer scare. But you know, Dmitry Pirog was damn good. But let's go to the main event.
No. That's a great segue into an earlier fight on the card between Brian Mendoza and Sergey Bukachev.
Okay. Yeah.
That guy right there from the Ukraine at 154 pounds. Listen, he's a problem. Brian Mendoza is not a chump.
Nope.
He beat him up. He beat Brian Mendoza up. Brian Mendoza's left cheek looked like Ali's cheek after he fought Joe Frazier for the first time.
Damn.
He had a hematoma.
And this is Mendoza, y'all. This is Mendoza, who slept Fundora.
And he didn't get tired. He stayed on top of Brian. He was banging him to the body. Brian, the only reason he didn't get stopped that night is because he's got a lot under the surface as far as his machismo. He got guts, man. But lesser guys would have caved in and been battered into oblivion.
Yeah.
And this guy was workmanlike. He was on top of him. Now, Brian, who can punch himself, hurt him a couple of times, but was never able to follow up on it to put him in jeopardy, to put him down or to stop him. And I think it was because of all the punishment he was taking. It wasn't that, because Brian can finish guys. And don't forget, his last fight was a loss to Tim Tszyu. So you giving him 2 back-to-back fights with guys who are beating on him.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't turn out well. But this Bohachuk, man, the guy is a problem. And I'm telling you, whomever, I don't care if it's Fundora, I don't care if it's Tszyu, I don't care whoever has that title at 154, you got to deal with this guy.
Get him now.
And he's dangerous.
Let me talk to the chat. You want to know how good this guy is, chat? And I almost forgot about him, Stormy. Thank you for reminding me. You want to know how good this guy is, chat? He's so good that you hear us being honest about him and talking him up now because of what he's done. He's so good that the community is going to hijack him. And y'all know what I'm talking about. He's going to get hijacked, and his fan base is going to make us hate him. Or try to make us hate him, like how they did Triple G. And no one hated on Triple G until. And no one hated Lomachenko until. This is how good. This guy's a whole problem, man. And I know he was on the undercard, but I'm telling y'all, there's a reason why they put him there. And Mendoza may have been the favorite going into that fight. He may have been the favorite. He beat the shit out of him, bro. And I was like, oh, snap. He was not in there fucking around. This is a guy that is he's one of those guys under the radar. But if he beats a name, just remember, Stormy told you. This guy's been an issue. He's been an issue. So 154 is lit. It's more lit than you think. I'm gonna tell you something. Jamel Charlo popped back up, and he ain't fighting that guy. I'm telling you, he's not. He's not. Stay away from that shit. But let's talk about the main event. The main event. Sebastian Fundora versus Tim Tszyu. Well, I'm gonna go to you first. Your thoughts. I heard your thoughts this morning, but just reiterate your thoughts on that fight.
Well, this was going to be a good fight anyway, because probably much better than Keith Thurman with Tim Tszyu, because of the height and reach dynamic that Fundora was going to present with Tszyu. Mm-hmm. And the styles, because the only way Fundora could win this fight would be if he was able to use his height and reach advantages and box from distance and draw like a line in the sand to keep Tim Tszyu out of a comfort zone for Tszyu. The first 2 rounds didn't look like that was going to happen at all. Tim was hitting him at will and starting to get at him. But as fate would have it, that elbow incident with the top of Tszyu's head that caused that gash in the top of his head changed everything.
Yeah.
Hindsight being 2020, this fight should have went for a no contest because of the lack of being able to handle the injuries sustained by Tim Tszyu. He bled so profusely that it affected his vision. It affected him being able to get at Fundora as he had during the first 2 rounds. And it gave Fundora an opportunity to gain some confidence to fight at range, because he was not doing that, and he wasn't going to, let's just say, I think at one point in the fight, had that injury to Tszyu not happened, Fundora would have rolled the dice, and that's what would have turned it into a fight that we could have seen about a fireworks. But knowing that Tszyu couldn't see very well, the blood was a hindrance, Fundora got a little more relaxed. Not relaxed like, oh, I got this, but relaxed in the fact that, okay, now I can step back because he can't see well, and I'm just going to pepper him with my shots from the outside and things of that nature. And that's exactly what happened. Tszyu was still trying to get at him, but the blood was such a hindrance. They still had 2 rounds to go after the cut happened that they could have went to the thing and said no contest. But whomever made the decision to go beyond the 4th round, they need their asses kicked. Because, no, I'm serious, because Tszyu was the world champion. Yeah. And you had another belt on the line. And you can come back and do this again. Don't you remember when I think it was it Gary Anton or the other Gary that had that bad cut with that guy first round of their fight? And then they had to come back and do it again. Remember? Yep. This could have been a similar situation, and we would not have been mad. The blow was horrible, and
it was real bad.
And whomever made the decision to go forward, if I'm Tim's coach, I'm like, we're going to the scorecards. You beat the guy, but it's going to be a no contest. Don't worry about it. We'll go back get you sold up. We'll come back in a few months and we'll do this
Oh,
again.
but you think the business got involved? You think someone from the PBC told the doc, "Yo, no one's really hurt. Let this go."
No, because go back and watch the fight. At the end of the second round, when he sustained the cut and he did like this and he went back to his corner and it would start bleeding right away. When he sat down on the stool, they called the doctor over. The doctor had the thing on his head. He looked at it like this. He said,
He shook his head.
He said, "Oh, this is bad." He was
Yep.
like, "I can let it go, but this is bad." He said it.
He did.
He said it. That was your out. And not out like, I got to get away from this, but to come back another day because my fighter is going to be depleted from this situation.
Yep.
How many times, even in this freaking show, have I said these damn cornermen don't know what the hell they doing? And you're talking about commodity where millions of dollars is on the freaking table, man.
And now he lost. He lost his undefeated record.
Exactly. How many times, even in this broadcast, have I said this about these guys?
Yeah. Yeah.
So those are my thoughts on it.
He blew it. The corner was supposed to stop the fight. Now listen, I know it's that first pay-per-view. You know, that's why I was wondering when the doc sat down after the cut, did somebody like call him on the phone or somebody just walk up to him and say, "Yo, look, it's our first pay-per-view. We got to get a return on investment. You let this shit go. All that blood is making for high drama." Did the cut alter the outcome, the performance? You can definitely make that case because I think Fundura's nose may have been broke because Tim hit him. Tim rocked his head back. And if that cut does not happen, I think Tim later in the rounds would have imposed his will on him. And like Stormy said, he'd have forced Fundora to doing what he's normally used to doing and getting into a gunfight where Tim may have gotten him. I picked Tim to win. But surprise, surprise. Somebody told Fundora, and this is what we talking about with corners. Somebody, I think that's Fundora's dad in the corner.
Yeah,
the black guy. Dad. Okay. Somebody told him, "Hey, look, man, that fight on the inside, not with him. Not with him. You're going to use a jab. I don't want you near this guy. This guy could punch." Remember what happened with Erickson Lubin? Remember how he got you late? Remember what happened with Brian Mendoza? Okay, you're not going to do this anymore. You're going to use your, listen, 6'7", 6'6", however tall he is, at 154, he's I've never seen anything like that. The first thing he should be living and dying. He should be beating people with a jab. The fact that he fought on the inside by choice drove me crazy. And now he picked the best time to use it against Tim Tszyu. Now, Tim, to his credit,
hold on, before you don't just casually say it that way. Mm-hmm. It was the circumstances of what happened to Tszyu that gave him a place of comfort to do that, because he wasn't doing that before it happened. He was getting battered by Tim. It was once that blood started flowing in Tim's face,
gave him confidence.
He's like, "Oh, okay, so I can stand out and just pepper him because I don't have to get close to him."
He didn't have to engage.
It wasn't the coaching from his dad. His dad may have reminded him, now just stay outside. Now, he may have reminded him, but it wasn't. It was what happened to Tim that made it become the fight that it ended up being.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Those were the circumstances. But when the bell rang, what I noticed was he was trying to establish his jab. He didn't just run into the pocket. And that's the first thing I picked up on. I said, okay, he's using a jab. But Tim was slick enough. He punched over that jab a few times. And I said, well, this ain't going to last long because he's closing the distance. And I felt that Tim would impose his will and he'd get into a gunfight mid to late part of the fight. And Tim would eventually get him. Unfortunately, the cut happened. And then you're right. They said, "Oh, no. We don't have to get in the inside at all. Pump that jab out, man. You ain't gotta do this. Eventually they'll stop it or whatever." But he won the fight off the jab because of those circumstances. So you're right. I agree.
And I talked about this on the post-fight last night.
Mm-hmm.
People don't think about this. but this is not a video game, okay?
Damn right.
So there's two men in there, and they're being hurt by what's happening, by the contact. That elbow to the head, the way it was bleeding, that had to be hurting Tim Tszyu something awful. It had to be. It was like he got shot.
Yeah. Yo, Stormy, in your post fight, you saw what I put in your post fight? Because I was watching it on the other screen while I was looking at your post fight. He's doing an interview in the post fight, and for no reason, the shit started bleeding.
Blood started running down again. Yeah. That lets you know how bad it was.
Whew. That was bad. Salute to Don Shot in that super chat. He said, agreed. Without that cut, Tim stops him. Huge possibility. I saw Tim. Spandora was trying to use the jab, and I saw Tim. Tim is look, man. Tim got some speed on him, and when he put that jab out, there was a couple of times he dipped on the inside and threw a left. And you remember when he popped Fandora's head back? That was like in the first round. And then he punched over it with a hook. I said, man, he's going to close the distance. Then that goddamn cut happened. But you're right, man. That corner, man, the corner caused Tim's corner was say after, what is it? It goes to the cause after 4 rounds. After round 4, he should have said, no, we can't do this. Go to the courts.
And if they would have went to the corner after at the end of the 4th round, if they would have said, even if Fundora won the 3rd and the 4th, or after the 4th, if they would have went, it would have been declared a no contest because the situation happened in the 2nd round.
Right.
But so if you do it beyond 4, they go to the scorecards, and whoever is up on the cards wins. So you take that onus out of the hands of any kind of potential for Fundora to be successful by cutting it off at 4. You cut it off at 4, it's a no contest. We can come back and do this again.
And we would have understood, because that was a bad cut.
Absolutely. He could have got in a freaking ambulance, gone to the hospital, got that taken care of, and been fine. But he fought another 10 rounds after that and bleeding. God knows how much blood the man lost.
He could have passed out.
And the pain. Dude, I took a blow like that today. The pain. That's why I say this is not video games. You're watching guys bleed. It ain't you. But you're watching it on TV and you're eating your chicken wings and you're looking at, oh, this is a great fight. It's a bloodbath and all of this. But somebody's in there in freaking pain. Just like Fundora, when Tim broke his nose and he was bleeding from the mouth and the nose.
Yep.
He couldn't get to Tim like he did those first couple of rounds with all the blood in his own face and everything. He might have stopped him on that alone. Because the guy couldn't continue to take those shots like that for 10 rounds.
Mouth was open. That's how I think his nose was broken. His mouth was open. You can't breathe like that. They were talking about swallowing blood. When I unmuted the TV, it was like, yo, he might be swallowing blood. That was Goosen, right? Goosen saying that. I think Goosen was like, if he swallows blood, man, that's also not a good deal. You swallowing all that blood, man. That's why I think, Tim would have been different if that didn't happen. Now, how does this shape up the 154 division? It kind of changes a lot.
And let me tell you something that this is going to do to Tim. It's going to freak with his psychology going forward. He was uber confident about his position going into this fight, even taking a different opponent with a different stature and everything, dimensions on short notice. He was uber confident. But now look at what this will do to him. He'll have doubt. He'll have reservation. He'll be looking at things a lot different because they failed him when they could have protected him and made sure he came out good. So there's a lot to deal with going forward for him. And guess who ain't talking about that? Most people. And guess who is talking about it? Me. because when I say these things, this is why I be criticizing these corners and these people that I just wish we could get them the hell out of the sport and protect these fighters more better, because I don't like to see this foolishness, man. I don't like to see this. I don't mind seeing the wars, like when you see Gotti and Ward or Holyfield and Bowe and stuff like that. That's great for boxing. But when you see this ineptitude, man, what the fuck?
This is bad.
Who made the decision to go the distance with this man with a fucking core open in the top of his head? And all they were doing was putting a glob of Vaseline on it every fucking round.
You heard Goosen, because I wanted to hear what was being said about that cut. You heard Goosen saying he broke down 3 medications that they needed in that corner to at least attempt to try and stop it. And I think Caleb Plant's wife went over there. I forget her name, but she asked, and I think they said what it was. I could be wrong, but Goosen was like, they don't have anything that I said that should be over there. He said they don't have it. I know that for a fact. They don't have it. So that's another thing. They were not equipped to deal with that. Even if you don't foresee that, you're supposed to foresee that. If you get a bad cut, what could we do? You understand? And you're right, Stormy. His corner cost him a belt, right? A winning record, and a potential of now we're talking about Fundora going to Dallas to face Errol instead of Tim Tszyu. You see what I'm saying? What a difference a night makes. Ain't that crazy? And this dude was, you're right, he was super confident. And they blew it. They blew it. The corner blew it. And you know what else? If it's rule of no contest, there wouldn't have been no popular demand to run it back. That's Tim Tszyu. All people are going to be saying, well, Fundora was about to lose anyway. Fundora got slept by Mendoza. Fundora got a gift anyway. It's 12 days notice. We're supposed to be fighting Keith Thurman. Anyway, we're going on to fight either Bud or Errol. That's what it was with him. I mean, come on now. How many belts Fundora got now? 2 now? Was that 2 belts he has? Am I seeing things?
WBC and WBO.
Come on now.
They threw the WBC into the fight after stripping Mel Charlo.
Yeah.
But guess what? When Tszyu was fighting Keith Thurman, no belt was on the line. Because the WBO wasn't going to sanction Keith Thurman.
Stormy.
Because Thurman had never fought a fight at 154. He wasn't in the rankings or ratings or anything like that. And they didn't put his belt on the line. But when Fundora became a part of this promotion, they brought the WBC in, along with the sanctioning now of this fight with Fundora, just like they did when Anthony Joshua fought Vladimir Klitschko.
Stormy. Brainstorm. And I need the chat screen record this. I think Fundora, I know he wants to fight Bud, but they're railroading Bud. More on that during the week. Do not be surprised if Fundora ends up fighting Errol in Dallas in the co-main event. Don't be surprised if they try to make the co-main event Jamel versus Tim Tszyu. Think about that. Think about what I just said. Jamel can't hold his own pay-per-view at this point. Jamel has been he's been radio silent at this point. What better way to get back in the saddle than to prove yourself against a guy that you pretty much ignored? And by the way, y'all, there'd be no Tim Tszyu. Remember he called him Tim Kazoo? There'd be no Tim Kazoo if Jamel had taken care of this business going on 1.5 years ago. He was supposed to take care of that. Okay? Don't be surprised if they throw Tim Tszyu on the undercard versus Jamel Charlo, co-main event. Main event, Fundora versus Errol in Dallas. It's just a thought. I could be wrong, but I see dollar signs with that. What you think about that, Stormy?
with the PBC, man, anything is possible. That's just like they and you heard me last night on my post fight when I say they pulled Earl out of a coffin, to bring him there for this and allowed him to get in the ring and everything. Now I know there's a lot of Earl Spence supporters out there and everything, and people love the guy. But did we not just see him get his ass whooped in his last fight too? So it's like you had a rematch, you didn't go through with that. Now you're gonna just forget like that didn't happen and get this opportunity. I feel the same way about Fundora. He got knocked out against Mendoza in his last fight. And now he gets this opportunity and he's out there. He got 2 belts now. I mean, what about the other freaking contenders? Does anybody else get a chance? This puff pass is only for select individuals? Man, stop this foolishness, man.
Bud's getting done dirty, y'all. Let's just say it. I know a lot of us got love for Errol.
Don't forget, the IBF stripped Bud Crawford of their belt less than 60 days after he had his win over Errol, right? It's undisputed.
Yeah.
And they award Boots the belt. Boots was Errol's responsibility. Why ain't nobody calling for Errol to still handle that Boots business, but everybody want Bud to handle that business? See, this is what happens when somebody is a winner and is a good fighter, but they may have beat your guy, but you want to see him fail. Y'all, they doing the same thing to Devin right now. They want Devin to fight all the toughest fighters and everything because he beat some of their favorite guys or has advanced beyond their favorite guys. So they just want to see him fall. They don't want to see the best fights. Didn't I just say that this whole puff pass thing, I got a problem with it because there are other contenders out here well deserving of title shots. How long has what's his name at middleweight? The guy, what's his name? He's been the WBC interim champion, and ain't nobody fighting him. What's the brother's name?
Wait, at 160?
Yeah, 160.
Let's go to the rankings.
Carlos Adames. There you go.
Adames. There you go. Thank you.
Adames. He should have had a title shot like 2 years ago. So it's not just David Benavidez, you guys. I'm watching this stuff. But like I said, if I really dial in and plug into this, I will freaking drop boxing like a bad habit it is, because the corruption is out of control. And then you have people like Leonard Ellaby who will come out here and say stupid, boneheaded shit like he does, and he's trying to tell you what's best for you and in your mind.
Did you see the tweet? Bud said, yo, man, you got to get in line. And then Errol responded, I don't do lines. And I'm like, oh, no, bro. Oh, no. Now, listen.
He don't do lines, but he smokes Bud, And apparently he had his share of that and ended up getting smoked by Bud. So what? You see?
It's a lie.
This is the thing.
It's a lie.
This is the thing. If you're going to be about the business, take care of the business. But this fanfare bull crap, I don't co-sign to all of that stuff. Because just like some of these guys you think you love today, tomorrow they're going to be gone. And they'll be replaced by a whole new assortment of people. Some will be willing to accept challenges and try to be the best that they can. Some will be on the take, and some are going to be washouts. And some of y'all going to like each and every one of them in your own way. The wheel does turn.
Now, listen, man. I know a lot of people like to come over here and be like, yo, y'all Errol Spence fanboys and da 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 da. Yo, my man, I'm fans. I'm a supporter of the sport first. Now I want y'all to put in the chat. Listen, you're entitled to disagree, but I'm looking at the landscape. I'm looking at what's going on at 154 right now. I'm looking at tweets and everything else that people are posting. Can I ask y'all a question? If Fundora decides to fight Errol Spence, whom we haven't seen, since that fateful night, is that fair to Bud? Just put yes or no. Is that fair? You think that's fair?
And did Bud not activate the WBO super mandatory challenge by being the WBO 147-pound champ, looking for the winner of this fight since it became sanctioned? Remember, it wasn't sanctioned when it was Keith Thurman and Zoo. It was not sanctioned. So it was just going to be those two guys fighting a non-title fight. When Fundora came in to take the place of Keith Thurman, they sanctioned it and they added a belt to it. Think about that for a minute. And then Bud, who had when they announced that it would be sanctioned, Bud, who activated his super mandatory status, the thing that Shakur Stevenson didn't do when he was at 130 and wanted to go to 135, where Devin was undisputed, and he just thought Devin was supposed to give him an opportunity, and Devin didn't have to. But Shakur, who gave his belts up on the scale, lost any leverage whatsoever. That's why Bud holds on to his belts, because there's leverage in having your belts on your next move. But you can see these sanctioning bodies and the corruption of the sport behaving like they are, and y'all too stupid to realize it because you like a guy so much. You like Boots so much. You like Earl so much. You like these fighters so much that aren't moving because they're waiting for the corruption to make paths for them. They should be fighting each other. And when you saw Earl, who said he wanted that belt from Bud, they tried to make a fight with Keith Thurman. He didn't want to fight Keith Thurman. But Keith Thurman, who had one time become a unified champion when Earl was on the rise, and he didn't want to fight Earl, people was like, oh, Keith is tripping, he's ducking and this and that or whatever. But when he finally come back around and say, why don't you fight me? Earl, in his effeminate feelings, is like, oh, I don't want to fight him now. He didn't want to give me a shot. Why? That's another feather in your cap, brother. That guy's a former world champion. Knock him off and then go for Bud and do your thing.
And you see,
that's not how they thinking. They talking about isolating and freezing people out. They just haven't said the words. See, Anthony Joshua made the difficult choice of saying that. Well, we'll just freeze Wilder out. He shouldn't have never said that, but once he said it, it let you know what the mentality was. Now, they're not saying it on PBC, but this is exactly what they're doing. Bud is being frozen out, and Bud has earned his position to be an independent fighter, just like Devin Haney did. So what? You don't like how he moved? So what? You don't like him? So what? Because he's a dark-skinned black man, huh? All these intercultural biases that you got against your own people. It don't make no damn sense, because at the end of the day, as he said, he's still going to the Hall of Fame. He is a multiple division champion, 2 times undisputed. You will never be able to take that away from him because he did it in the ring. He wasn't giving belts like Fundora was last night.
How could you have a problem with what LDB said about Tank and how Tank has been moved strategically? How could you have a problem with that? Right? I'm sorry. How could you not have a problem with that, but you magically have a problem? No, I'm sorry. How could you have a problem with Tank, with what LDB says about Tank, but have no problem when he was asked about Errol? He basically said, no, Errol versus Fundora, he can do that. Tank a star, Errol a star. That's basically what he said. Errol's a star. But I just asked you guys. Is Bud being treated fairly? Now we're talking boxing. Now the question is not who's your favorite fighter, because that's what a lot of you guys seem to hear. I asked you, was he being treated fairly? And the answer is no, y'all. He's not. Bud is not. He's not being treated fairly. He's up. He beat Errol fair and square. I'm not talking about all the other stuff outside the ring. He beat him fair and square. He's two-time, undisputed champion, 140, 147. As soon as he go to 154, he's trying to exercise certain things, and I know Don Shada sent me this on sent me a copy of I think this is a tweet from Paco Valcarcel. He says next week the WBO will order negotiations for Fundora versus Bud.
Check this out.
What
WBO? Did I not, in my little tirade, just speak about other fighters? Yeah. I mentioned Adames. I mentioned Benavidez. I mentioned fighters who are standing around waiting for opportunities and shots that may never come because of this game that's being played. Mm-hmm. They even brought Danny Garcia out of the doldrums last night and put him in front of the cameras. When's the last time Danny Garcia fought in a professional boxing match? We know he is an accomplished tycoon. He's a real estate mogul. He's got some investments. He's doing all right for himself and his family. Don't nobody give a damn about Danny Garcia as a fighter. And I'll say this, Danny, if you want to get your name back into the arena, get your ass in there with Boots Ennis. He's from your town and city. Huh? That's how you do it. But it ain't gonna happen. You know why? Because you said he ain't gonna make no name and fame off of you.
That's what he said.
Who are you trying to continue to make name and fame off of? Unless you're content with the fame and now you're just coming back to steal money. Uh-oh.
Salute to my brother Thomas in that super chat, much love. He said, how is it that the main event last night was for the WBC and WBO super welterweight title, but why was there a fight for the WBC interim world super welterweight titles? Is Boychuk going to fight Fundora? They ain't gonna let that happen.
No,
they ain't gonna let that happen.
Good defeat for Fundora. That guy will be on top of Fundora, man. No,
and that'll if Boychuk gets a hold of that belt, that changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
They want to maximize. You see, this is where the marketing comes in. They want to maximize their dollar, what they got. See, Fundora, there's still marketability with there because he's, he is who he is. 6'7" at 154. I guess he has a Latin fan base, which is fine, and he's exciting to watch. The thing is, with this thing that Errol has said, now the politics are gonna play a huge role, and the question was in this realm right now that we're looking at it in real time. I'm asking you guys, if Fundora chooses to fight Errol, are y'all gonna say, well, I would do that because this is a bigger payday? Oh yeah? Then congratulations. You just justified why AJ moved around fucking Wilder all those years and fought everybody but him. You just justify why Canelo's not fighting Benavidez. Ain't no money in it. But Avni Yildirim, though. Wilder wasn't worth no money, so you fought Carlos Takam. But Wilder was a WBC champion all that time. One fight from Undisputed, you didn't do it. You understand? So Fundora's going to chase Errol, right? And let's be honest, it's a 50-50 fight. We don't know We don't know how Errol's doing, but we seen when Fundora gets caught, we now know, thanks to Brian Mendoza, that if you catch him right, he can go to sleep. We saw that in Erickson Lubin because he dropped him late in the goddamn fight. You understand? So Errol is a gamble. So what is Errol trying to do? Grab those 2 belts so he can have a bargaining chip over Bud, who beat him. And he could have exercised the power of 4 different belts when he went to 154 and fought anybody. So I'm asking you, I'm not asking you who your favorite fighter is. I fucks with Errol, but we're talking about what's right and what's wrong now, right? So now the shoe is a bit on the other foot. My question was, is Bud being treated fair? My answer is no. My answer is no. So if he wants to chase a bag, go to Dallas. If you're chasing the bag. But you know what else is wearing thin with me? Let me talk to the Bud fans, the hard-body Bud fans that used to accuse us of hating on Bud or whatever. I just didn't like Bud's business moves. That's over with now. He fought Errol, it happened, and you motherfuckers didn't purchase the pay-per-view, allegedly, 700,000 buys, allegedly. It should have easily been 1.5 million, allegedly. All right? I'm just dealing with the numbers that I have. All right? What numbers I was told. But let me say this, y'all. If anything that we have alleged is true, Bud fans, y'all need to remove that excuse that Bud don't sell. Can y'all do that, please? I've supported Bud. I've critiqued Bud, but I've gone to when he was here in New York and fought Amir Khan. I went to the event, bought a ticket, went to the event, and I bought 2 pay-per-views. When he fought Errol in Vegas, I went to the event and bought 2 pay-per-views. I support Bud, so I reserve the right to critique when I feel he's doing something wrong. Just like how I'm critiquing Errol right now, because I've paid for this. All of this market value and stuff, y'all can shut it down by what? Your pockets. Go in your pockets, put down a fire stick, go in your pockets and pay for it. Fussing with us online, it's going to go but so far. Y'all won that argument so far. Bud is a bad motherfucker. And I never said that Bud can't fight. Now's the time that y'all support him with your pockets. Fussing with us, it's not, it goes but so far, y'all. Because that's what it's going to come down. Now, you're going to see people saying, oh, well, he should fight Errol because it's worth more. Meanwhile, Bud whooped Errol's ass. And this is no hatred. We know what we saw, y'all. There's no debating it. We know what we saw. So how the fuck does Errol get to jump the line now, man? That's not fair to Bud. Black man. Black man. Black man. I'm saying it. I'm saying it. Is that fair? I don't know. I know life ain't fair. I understand. I understand life ain't fair. I understand. But can we be honest with each other? Black man, brothers and sisters, can we be honest for 2 seconds? Who deserves the Fundora fight? Now he got 2 belts. Watch this, y'all. You want me to get real deep? Want me to get real deep with y'all? Let me get real deep with you for a second. Wasn't I on here saying, yo, Jamel, fuck Canelo. When Bud beat Errol, he jumped on that rope and looked down and said, you're next to Jamel. What did Jamel say? I don't know why he's talking to me. We're not in the same weight class. Dummy, neither are you and Canelo. But I supported Jamel. Went to the presser right here in New York. And what did he do? He went in there and laid a fucking egg. What am I supposed to do with that, y'all? We saw it. Was that the same Jamel Charlo I'll be running around here screaming and cursing, lines in the camp? Was that the same guy? No, he disappointed me. And I didn't drag him. I just said what we saw. He'd gotten there and didn't do anything and then got out there and just said, yeah, Canelo an animal, he a dog. And then at the same post fight, he said, oh, what, y'all want me to scream and holler and curse people out? Yeah, that's what y'all want? Yeah, you're going to do it to Bud? You shouldn't have been in there with Canelo. When Bud looked at you in Vegas and said, you're next, you should have been, Yeah, I'm next. Fuck Canelo. You know why? Stop chasing this motherfucker. Fuck Canelo. The money's there for him. What you and Bud was supposed to do is make history. You know why? Jamel was already a champion. Jamel was already undisputed. That gives Bud an opportunity to become undisputed in 3 weight classes in under, 10 months? Or give Bud his first loss. And we're not worried about what Canelo got going on. Brother, black man, we're not worried about it. Do you understand? He should have never been in there with Canelo off of general principle. Do you understand what I'm talking? Is any of this making sense? Omaha versus Texas, 1 down, 1 to go. And if Jamal gets his head right, he can get it too. I'd rather see Bud get an opportunity to do that before Canelo. Does any of this make sense? Is any of this making sense? I would love to have seen that, an opportunity. Is this making sense? But y'all worried, a lot of y'all fans, y'all worried about the wrong shit. Y'all worried about the wrong shit. I said, what do you mean? He's telling Bud we not in the same weight class. You ain't 168 either, motherfucker. You 154, man. In one fight, Bud could have went to 154 and had an opportunity, because can you imagine if Bud went up 154 and got all those belts? That's 140, 147, 154. Bud ain't got to do shit else but retire. So now Errol's coming back after the cataract. We thought we was going to have it, but he gave us a cataract surgery. We didn't know what the fuck's going on. And then he pops up and now I want to jump the line and fight Fundora. I'm asking y'all, is that right? Now, I know there's going to be some people saying, hey, man, fuck that, because Bud wasted all of our time. And remember all the shit that we did, and he's doing a live on Instagram. Yo, look, I'm over that shit, man. They fought. And there was a winner and there was a loser. I'm over that shit now, man. I'm not holding it against him. Because whatever business they had, do y'all know what Bud made off the bat? Y'all know what kind of back-end money he did? Made? I don't know nothing. But whatever it was, he was happy with it. And Errol ain't complaining about it. It was Errol's job to show up and get it done, and he didn't get it done. So now here we are. He done vanished and everything else. Didn't Derrick James say, yo, I'd rather Errol come back and fight, go directly at Bud? He said that. And I said, oh, shit. I don't know what Errol's doing next. And then he pops up Saturday, told me, yeah, I got Fundora. And if Tim Tszyu had won, he'd be like, yeah, I got Tim Tszyu. Wait a minute. What about Bud? Y'all remember when y'all was calling me a Bud hater? Remember all of that shit? No. I want fairness. I'm a boxing supporter first, man. I never hated Bud. I just didn't understand some of the shit he was doing. You think I hate Tank? Well, you might be second thinking that tomorrow morning. I got a lot to say about him. But this ain't hate. Some of y'all remind me of these girls when I get on the gram and I comment on some asinine behavior and 400 chicks on the post want to come for me and they don't know me. And I'm like, wait a minute. Shorty got 200 bodies. She's 18 years old. And she has her OnlyFans. Maybe 21 years old. She has an OnlyFans and y'all ain't here. Go girl, get your money, whatever. And then 8 days later, she's crying because no boyfriend wants to take her seriously. Well, you got 200 bodies in the OnlyFans. You want to argue with me that that's your line of work? Wait a minute. Is your father cool with you behaving like that? I have to tell these young ladies in the gram, yo, watch your mouth. You're talking to an elder. Don't let the fucking picture fool you. What am I met with? Oh, you old niggas. Yeah, you know what it is? You ain't got no old nigga to put you up on game. I'm dropping science on you. I'm giving you free game right now, something your father never did because you don't know him because your mom chose a bum nigga and your fucking mother's in competition with you and your mom's probably helped support your OnlyFans. I don't want to get too deep with y'all, but some of y'all grown-ass men remind me of these chicks. The sport will never get fixed if we allow shit like this. Leonard Ellerbe is allowing Tank to move a certain way. Floyd Mayweather has made it easy for Tank to move a certain way. Errol just came back into the limelight last night. He looked fine to me. But hold on, you not fighting Bud? You jumping in the ring to fight Fundora? Why, bro? Why? This is what we doing? Look, I'm calling it how I see it. Now, y'all can say, oh, you jump ship. Listen, I'm on a team of boxing, man.
Check this out for nostalgia's sake. Mr. I got an O and I ain't afraid to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
However, when Bud came on the scene, what'd he say? He too small. He got to get a belt. When Earl came on the scene, he said that, how did he put it? He said that, yeah, we're gonna have to let that. He gonna have to prove himself or something. He was saying some stuff just to put him off. But the whole point of it was the fight that was supposed to happen didn't happen. And in Thurman's instance, it was both Bud Crawford at one point and then Errol Spence at one point. And it didn't happen. And the division staggered as a result of that. Now here we are again. And Spence, who had a rematch clause with Crawford, activated it at the 11th hour of the deadline to activate. Then when he does that, he goes and has surgery.
Did that make any sense?
None whatsoever. And you have surgery, you know you're going to have a period of time of inactivity because you've had surgery. Now, the time on that, Crawford is like, well, I'm moving on. People got mad at him. What is he supposed to do? Now, Earl has come back, ain't even mentioned Crawford. He in the ring with Fundora. But ain't nobody said nothing.
Watch this, Stormy. Isn't that similar to when Devin went to Shakur? Shakur said, give me more. He said, nah, fuck you. You getting a lot with this. Even me being drained. Tank, you want smoke? Leonard Ellerbe. You don't make no deals. Tank a star. All right, so what's the deal? Nothing. What the fuck was Devin supposed to do? Hang around like a skeleton at 135? He said, nah, man, let me just go up and get this WBC belt. And that's what he did. You supposed to wait on him? What was Bud supposed to do? Wait and be inactive? This is what I'm talking about, y'all. Now watch this. Y'all do know I used to be a huge Canelo Alvarez supporter, right? Until, hey, Canelo, time for you to fight Triple G. I said, he gonna style on Triple G. What did he do, family? He dropped the belt. I was like, ooh, what was I supposed to do with that? I didn't defend it. I said, hey, man, I don't know. That was my response. I don't know why he did that. Oh, because he got his ass kicked. I said, I still think he beats him. He eventually fights him. And after that, what happened next, y'all? Did he not pop dirty? That put a shadow on everything he did. I don't know when he was on, when he wasn't on clenbuterol. And then the WBC ups the allowable levels for him. What am I supposed to do with that? Just still say Viva Mexico? I fucks with Canelo unconditionally? No, that's unsafe, man. I say, well, shit. This is what I'm supposed to do. Come on, man. Come on, man. You don't have to even like Bud. Is this fair? Let me ask the chat one more question. What would you rather see next? Fundora versus Errol or Errol versus Bud, the rematch? What would you rather see next? I'm good with Fundora going on and trying to do other things. I want to see Errol get that get back. Y'all heard what I said, right? I still want to see Errol get that get back because I don't think that he was 100% going into that fight. That was not the Errol Spence I was used to seeing. And I know there was something fucking wrong with him. And I know a rematch would look a lot different. But he got to do something. So you coming off a cataract surgery and everything, and you getting in the ring with Fundora? instead of running it back with Bud? What are we supposed to do with that? What do y'all want to see? Errol versus Fundora or Errol versus Bud? Now I'm talking to the Errol Spence fans right now, man. We're being fair, right? Or did I jump ship? Come on, y'all. Are y'all gonna be this unfair? Come on, y'all. Don't do that, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. I don't want to see Errol do shit else but fight Bud. Come on, bro. I picked Errol to win. And shit that I was learning on fight night, and then what I saw, I'm like, ugh. And I still didn't make any excuses. If he ain't making no excuses, I ain't gonna say what was told to me. It's irrelevant. Now watch this, y'all. Is Errol ducking Bud at this point?
What?
Uh-oh. Because we was running around for like 2 years talking my Bud was ducking Errol, was we not? 60-40, take the 40, man. You don't sell like that. Errol got more belts. He has more marketability. Take the 40%. It's generous. Remember that? What's going on now, y'all? Are we going to be consistent? This is not fair. Oh, I know life ain't fair though. But I'm going to tell y'all like what we tell the trolls. A lot of y'all only give a shit when it benefits your favorite fighter. Okay? I'm for the fighters. The only person I give zero fucks about whatever happens is Tyson Fury. I don't want to hear nothing about fairness with him, and y'all know why. Y'all know why. Fuck that guy. But this ain't this. This ain't it right here. This ain't it. Man, I'm landing. I'm gonna land the plane on that, man. But let them know how they can find you, good brother.
Man, they ain't looking for me. And I ain't looking for them. That's how I feel. And you know what? It's not about being in my feelings because it's also how I think. But I'll put a link in the chat. You can either click on it and see what's happening or not. Stormy don't give a damn. Now that's real.
Just remember.
No cap.
Just remember, y'all. When you watch the decline of the sport, because this is the last run, y'all. This is the last run. If it don't work out on Amazon Prime, I don't know where y'all gonna be watching boxing next. Whatever, man. Maybe it needs to die so it could resurrect properly. Detroit native says, why nobody talking about pay-per-view buys? I thought Bud wanted big fights only. Bro, I don't know. Y'all know I don't talk about, buys. Maybe somebody will talk about it this week. Y'all could check for Rick Glasser. He likes to shit on everything. He not gonna shit on this one because the main event was 2 non-blacks and the co-main event was 2 non-blacks. He's probably shitting on Errol right now. But when I'm talking about Errol, it's coming from a place of love. When I'm talking about Bud, it's coming from a place of love. Those are my brothers. And I want them to make bread, man. There's more popular demand. And they can show it how it's done. We can get together and do a rematch with no belts involved. We don't give a fuck what Fundora and Tim Tszyu did. You understand? But what do I know? What do I know? Ain't no one talking about no goddamn. Depends, man. It's whatever it is, man. But salute to y'all, the Venmo, the Zelda, Cash App, the Super Chat, man. We love the sport. The sport don't love us. But you know what, though? As supporters of the sport, we have to maintain a lot of integrity. And I see a lack thereof, unfortunately. So just get out your feelings and just let what me and Stormy are saying, just let that marinate for a minute. There's no hate here. We're just asking what the fuck is going on and where's the consistency. And I'll see y'all in the AM. Bronx on deck.
Move!
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.